welcome to the Mike Herndon Show, Week 16. I am Mike Herndon, and I'm joined by Easton Freeze, Director of Published Content for BroadwaySportsMedia.com, as usual. And, of course, we're talking about, everyone's favorite topic, Tennessee Titans football.
No shortage of things to talk about, Mike.
A really great way to ring in the holidays here.
That's right. That's right. Merry Christmas, Mike.
Anything is anyone has going on right now.
Yeah, it's not great in the Titans world, but there's no shortage of things to talk about. So you can look at it that way. We have plenty to discuss. Things have been kind of in free fall for the Titans, but we're going to go over everything today, as we always do each and every week on the show. We're going to start, of course, with our film segment. So we can just go ahead and dive right into that if you are ready. We've got two topics that we're wanting to discuss today. The first of which, you wanted to talk about what we saw, as little as it may have been, from Dillon Radunz.
Yeah, and obviously with the news coming out now that he has a torn ACL, we may not see Dillon Radunz again.
Ever?
I don't know, for a year and a half, 2 years. We'll see. But it was kind of nice just to enjoy a brief respite from the Dennis Daly show. And I thought Radunz actually, it was, I think 10 pass blocking snaps, 15 total snaps. So not a big sample size at all. And it wasn't all great by any means, but it was mostly good. I felt like it was better than what I saw from Daly, and at least gives me some hope that he could be a part of some offensive line answer in the future. But the problem now is that answer isn't probably in 2023. So maybe in the final year of his rookie contract, he can be a starter for you, maybe. So it's a really sad situation with that injury, but figure we take a look at it just because more than anything, I think just looking at young players and how they're developing is probably the most interesting thing left for this team to do over the next few weeks. And we'll start with not this is kind of the bad with Radunz here. He's trying to he's run blocking, so he's trying to run a little combination block here. So he's expecting 56, the 3 technique, to be there for him to double with Brewer, but the guy darts inside, so he's not there, and that you kind of see he comes out and he kind of whiffs. He's just a little bit out of control, out over his skis, as you would say, which leaves him off balance. And he does a pretty good job, honestly, of throwing a hook out there and getting some piece of Kenneth Murray to knock him off, and frankly, that helps create the run. So I guess in the sense of by hook or by crook, you get it done.
That's right.
It's a successful block, but it is one of those things that I think constantly pops up with Radunz is, balance issues, either being over aggressive or ducking his head in an effort to, really generate a lot of power. And it creates situations where he's just not in control, as you'd hope an offensive lineman would be. This was I felt like a better block. This was on the touchdown, and you can see here that's really nice from him. This is good power. He's getting some displacement off the line of scrimmage with his block. He obviously gets help with the double team, but then he finishes well. Even maybe he's grabbing him a
little bear hug there at the end.
Yeah, it's not egregious, and obviously doesn't get called. And end of the day, it's a touchdown. So I don't know. I thought you saw some good from him, and then I thought really pass blocking. I thought he was better. Technically the highest graded pass blocker of the Titans in this game. He gave up 0 pressures. All that. This is actually a screen, and this is where he gets called for the hold, and this is one where I think he kind of just gets burned by the fact that the play did not come off as planned. He needs to let the guy go here to some degree, but he's kind of looking to see, hey, what's going on. And then the guy, it almost looks like he pulls his arm over his shoulder, trying to draw a hold. But he's clearly got a hold of him, and when he spins back, it looks bad. So
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm having such a hard time focusing on Daly because number 92 for the Chargers.
oh my god.
What's going on here? Can you explain this?
Yeah, so he recognizes screen, and then he starts running around trying to find the screen.
But he's right. He's right here, free. Where go to the quarterback's got the ball, buddy.
Yeah,
where you going?
Go try to get to the quarterback. Try to get your arms up. Like, don't just run around in circles.
I mean, the distance. He's at least 3 times closer to the quarterback than he is to Henry right now. This is hilarious.
That is one of the funniest plays I've seen all year, probably from anyone. Just running around in circles.
Yeah.
And then this is some pass set stuff from Radunz, which I really thought this was where he's good. This is where he gets hurt ultimately, and unfortunately, like, it's friendly fire. And like, look, this isn't Brewer's fault. Like, he's looking for work, which is what you ask guys to do, and he goes to try to help Radunz, who honestly, I mean, he has the block under control here. Brewer does a good job kind of coming through to clean it up, but they knock legs, as you can see when Brewer comes over there. It just looks like he catches an awkward step somehow, and it's really almost hard to see exactly what happens, but you can see he comes up limping, and hey, torn ACL, and we'll see you in 2024 probably, Dillon.
Yeah, that's tough. For sure. I believe we may have one more. Yeah, we got one more pass set clip here.
Yeah. And this is really like where I thought he showed significant ability above Daly, because here, like, it's not
in the sense that he doesn't get blown by around the corner.
He doesn't get blown by around the corner. He moves his feet. He's able to like run the guy past the depth of the quarterback, which is what you're supposed to do here. Let them run around, let them run circles around the track all they want. You just don't let them into the pocket. So this is exactly how, you want that to look. And he does a good job running the guy past and doing enough to get the block and let Malik Willis get the ball out. So I thought he was, good. Like, such a small sample size. I think it's dangerous to take big conclusions away from that.
Sure.
Obviously, I would have loved to see more of him over the next few weeks had he stayed healthy,
right,
in that spot, and see if maybe they could find something that was better than Daly, which is not hard to do.
Right.
But obviously, we won't get to see that. But I wanted to look at it nonetheless and just kind of review what we did see from Radunz, because, hey, I mean, it'll be the last we see of him for a while.
Right. Well, speaking of small sample sizes and speaking of Malik Willis, we have a couple of plays of his on the drive where Ryan Tannehill was getting tests on his ankle that you wanted to go over. So here was I believe this is a third down pass from him.
Yeah, this is a third down. He converts to Chris Conley. I think it was 3rd and 7. And honestly, like, it's easy. Again, it's small sample size. It was 2 drives, I think.
We're about to get a much larger sample size, so everybody hold your horses.
We're about to get plenty. So you don't want to take too much away from it again. But I did think this was the most comfortable he looked in the pocket. Like, here it is, third down. This is just a straight drop back, read it out, and he finds the open man, puts it on him with pressure in his face. I mean, this is not necessarily clean. I mean, he's got guys coming into the pocket. He's got guys being pushed in his lap. So him being able to see that in the middle of the field from the pocket is encouraging to me. Like, that is very encouraging on third down, put an accurate throw on Chris Conley, let him get the first down. So that was promising. And really, like, this whole performance from Willis was better to me. Like, every time we've seen him, I feel like he's been better.
He's taken a step. Yeah, no, I agree.
And this is an RPO that they ran, which I really like. Them letting him run some RPO look. So he's given the read to Henry and then coming and throwing the slant off of it. And they're running that double slant, like dragon concept to the top of the field here. And, he kind of gets to pick matchups. And again, like, this is a good ball he puts on Conley and puts it into his body so he can protect, because, the corner is breaking down on top of this. He doesn't need to lead him here because that's asking for a pick or a pass breakup. So putting it on his body is the right throw. So again, it's baby steps, but it is an on-time accurate throw from Malik Willis off of a concept that fits his game. And I think we'll probably see a lot more of over the next, however long the season has left at this
least
point.
3
3
games.
weeks,
Right.
or 4 or whatever.
Right. This is the last clip we have today. This was Willis actually tucking the ball and running, which we'd seen him try a good bit this year, but we hadn't seen him do with much success, which was kind of strange considering his acumen running the ball coming out of college. We hadn't seen him really succeed. Here we do.
Yeah, and I think this is a play that Mike Vrabel actually liked seeing him run. I mean, obviously, famously in the preseason, he pulled him because he just kept running.
Stop running.
Right. And this one, it sounded like from the comments Vrabel made this week, he liked this for a few reasons. I think one, Henry, I think, is in the wrong. Like, he holds the ball out for the play fake here, and I think Henry actually realizes that he is screwed up here because he kind of like looks over and is like, oh, I'm supposed to go to the other side, and then just kind of runs across the formation late. So I think Henry actually screws up the play fake. But regardless, nobody's really open. So I think if you look downfield at the routes, take a look and just look where he's looking. So look, he starts, I think, working on that left side of the field where he's got his receivers. And, there's nothing really there. I mean, maybe you throw the end breaker to Conley, but the safety's sitting right on top of that. That's going to be a difficult catch. Hooper's coming over, but that's really too late for him by the time he's under pressure. And so he ends up stepping up, getting out of the pocket, making a guy miss in the open field, which again is like, that is one of the things that is, that is Malik Willis, what he brings to the table right there. He deletes a defender and then goes and makes a play and gets down protecting the ball and protecting himself, which I know Vrabel mentioned, hey, I like that he slid here at the end of this here. So this to me is what you want to see when Malik Willis runs. You want to see him running because he looked at the play and it wasn't there, and then he was able to make something happen. So I like it. I cannot hear you.
I was muted. Sorry. I was saying this is what you want to see when he has to run 19 times this next week or the next week when he's got nobody protecting him and he's got to bail from pockets that are collapsing immediately. You're going to want to see him not, because he may have to have 150 rushing yards next week or this week, depending on if there's anybody in the offensive line room that can protect him, and he'll get killed if he takes contact every time. He'll get killed.
It'll be a very interesting game plan to see how, like, where they go with what they're going to have available to them.
Right. And we'll talk about that a lot later. Well, today we had a smaller film section than we typically do. And any other week, I would say, listen up, you cheap scoundrels that are just watching the free version every week. You got to pay for the rest of the show. But it is Christmas, Mike. So feeling generous as we are, we've got an extra segment today that I wanted to get into that we're going to do half of here in the free portion of the show. And if you want the back half of this segment, you're going to have to subscribe, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So we're going to go through the 2022 Titans What Could Have Been draft. We've got a number of options to choose from, unfortunately, because there's a lot of questions this year regarding the Titans that we never got the chance to answer. But Mike and I are going to go back and forth to pick our 8 favorite things that we wish we could have gotten the answer to this season from the Titans or Titans players that for whatever reason we weren't able to get an answer to. So Mike, what is your first pick in the What Could Have Been draft?
So I'm going to go Treylon Burks stays healthy all season because I am so intrigued by Burks and what he's shown the last 3 games that he's been on the field now. And that skill set and what could have been if he plays and doesn't have the toe injury, doesn't have the concussion, and it's just he's playing in now his 15th NFL game this week.
Yep.
What does he look like, and how much does that change the fortunes for this offense? Because that is something like the offensive line, you could say they're probably more than one piece away. I think that's fair to say from being a good offensive line. They could probably be at least passable with maybe if you just threw Trent Williams in at left tackle instead of
right.
or whatever. But Burks to me is like the Jenga piece for this offense, and that he is, when he's been out, the passing offense is cratered. It has been at its very worst when in the games that he has missed. And when he's been in, it's shown signs of life. So I think that's the piece that I would most like to know. And for the future, just spinning forward to 2023 and 2024 and beyond, the faster you know what Burks is, the faster you can plan around what he can bring to the table. And that's going to be important for them moving forward.
I like that pick. I do. I think for my first pick, I'm going to go with the Titans having an intact pass rush all year. One of the things, maybe the thing that I was most excited to see in the preseason and in camp was Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, and Bud Dupree all healthy, capable of rushing the quarterback each and every week and seeing just how much havoc they could wreak. We saw at the very tail end of last season against the Bengals, they put up 9 sacks, and that was the best that the pass rush has been, I think, in recent years. It was, for my money, the best pass rush in the league in that moment. And those 4 guys, if they were all healthy and on the field, I felt like were going to be just tremendous. I had a feeling the Titans defense was going to be the number 1 defense per DVOA or whatever metric you want this season because of that pass rush. And because they lost Landry before things even started, Dupree gets banged up early in the season. Simmons get banged up late in the season. Autry has to miss games late in the season. They weren't able to be on the field altogether at all. And even the 3 outside of Landry that made it into the season to even play, those 3 guys, I think they mentioned on the broadcast last week, have played like 13% of their snaps, all 3 of them on the field together this season. So we never really got to see that. And it's such a bummer because I felt like it was going to be the best in the league. I thought they were going to be the best doing it.
Yeah, I can agree with that too. That was one thing that, like, when the Landry injury news broke, it was heartbreaking because I was so excited to see this defense like fully formed and together. And as it turns out, we've seen them hardly with like less than 3 or 4 missing pieces all season.
Right.
But it would have been nice to just get that pass rush intact and see the ripple effect that could have had on other parts of the defense and the team for that matter.
Yep.
Because if you start getting a bunch of turnovers and putting your offense in good positions, maybe they score a few more points too.
That's right. That's right. All right. What's your next pick, Mike?
My next pick is a healthy Taylor Lewan, and what that left side of the offensive line being what it was supposed to be would have meant for both the running game, where I think, there was the Rex Road piece before the season that the Titans were really excited about what the duo of Lewan and Brewer could do next to each other in the run game, just because they're such athletic freaks. Like, those 2 guys are athletic freaks for their positions. And it's not like
they complement each other really well.
Exactly. And you also have the ripple effect of, hey, if you have Taylor Lewan in there, you don't have to worry about your left tackle. You can slide protection away from him. You can help Nicholas Petit-Frere all the time. And maybe Nicholas Petit-Frere's season looks better just because he's being helped as he should have been. And, maybe the whole offensive line outlook is totally different because, with Aaron Brewer having a borderline Pro Bowl level left tackle next to him instead of the worst left tackle in the league, maybe he, just looks better. So I think that's a huge question mark of, hey, what could this offense have been with Taylor Lewan out there?
I love that one. I think it would have changed things dramatically. You could have had Ben Jones available to help out Brewer in pass protection. You could have had Nate Davis babysitting in PF a little bit. Things would have been so different. And not only would they have been different, but if they had even a suitable backup left tackle option, it's not just that they lost Lewan, it's that they went from Lewan to the absolute basement option of Dennis Daly. It made it so dramatically different. And before we even got to see things get rolling at the very beginning of week 2, my next pick is going to be if Kyle Phillips was able to play this season. I was really, really, really high on him in the preseason. He was tremendous when I got to see him at camp. I know you got to see him at camp as well. He looked so promising, and he looked like a guy that was going to end up being a steal from the draft and be a real impact rookie his first year. I think that first game, very limited sample size, but what we saw from him in that game, not just his ability to return punts. Yeah, he muffed 1 punt, and the the legend of that muffed punt has kind of grown as he's not been available for the Titans. I've heard people, I think their frustration with him not being able to play all season has kind of grown into people exaggerating the muffed punts. I had somebody tweet at me the other day when I said, I wish Kyle Phillips could have played this season. They were like, except for the 3 punts he muffed. I'm like, 3 punts? He muffed 1 punt and then gave the Titans a chance to. People forget he was the only reason they had a chance in that game, and Randy Bullock missed his kick. But I think he caught like 4 of the 6 passes down the field there in the 2-minute drill to get the Titans in field goal range. He looked so good, and he also would have been like the only other guy besides Traylon Burks that could separate in man coverage, it seems like, and that would have been nice to have more than one of those guys. I think he would have been so good, and I really hope he can come back healthy next season because I still think he can be a really, really nice slot piece for this team, and it's a bummer they never had him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Phillips. People have soured on him too far in the other direction now. I agree with you because before the season, I think maybe people were overhyped about him, and then
right the next Hunter Renfrow, the next Cooper Kupp, right.
And then the unrealized expectations of that, I feel like, has caused people to emotionally swing the opposite direction. And, he's trash. He's too small, as if being small somehow hurts your hamstring. So
that conversation. Yeah.
It's definitely a good what if with Kyle Phillips. And you would hope, again, spending forward to next year, which to me feels like the most important thing right now. It's hard to
be a recurring theme the rest of the season, guys.
Like you would love to know, hey, is Kyle Phillips a guy that we could rely on to be like one of our top 3, or do we need to go find 2 more?
Well, that's the thing, Mike. Like and maybe I'm too high on him. Maybe we need more sample size. I've seen enough personally. I'm convinced he is a starter in the league if he can stay healthy, but we don't know if he can stay healthy. I mean, he's not been healthy all year.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and that's why I kind of feel like hey, if the Titans need to go out and find 1 more wide receiver right now, not 2 or 3 necessarily, because right. I do think you plug in Burks, you plug in Phillips, you maybe plug in McMath as a rotational guy, and you could keep NWI around as like a depth guy as long as you have him as a
where we've wanted NWI to be the last 2 years, wide receiver 4 or 5.
Exactly. As long as he and McMath are wide receiver 4 and 5, that is a good combination. But if you went and got another guy to plug in with those other guys, I think you're in good shape at wide receiver.
Agreed entirely. All right, let's do one more pick before we cut off the free listeners.
All right. I will go Elijah Molden in what could have been if he had been healthy all year, because to me, they have struggled to fill that slot position all season long. There has not been like one answer there. They tried Roger McCreary. They've tried Amani Hooker. They've tried Andrew Adams. They've tried Josh Kalu. They've tried God, who else? Like now John Reed,
Lonnie Johnson
playing in there. Yeah, Lonnie Johnson has played in there.
Has Trey Avery played in there at all?
Feels like almost everybody on the roster in the secondary has gotten a turn in the slot. So it is just
Jeffrey
been a revolving
Simmons was in the slot for a second.
Harold Landry could have been out there had he stayed healthy.
Right.
But Molden would have settled that position, in my opinion, and given them someone consistent, and like was just another playmaker in the secondary, and lost in some of the injury stuff. Like Roger McCreary is the only one that's been really reliably healthy all season out of that corner group. Obviously Byard at safety has been as well. Is like those 2 guys are the only guys who have not missed time on this defense. But yeah, that just having more answers. I feel like they've been able to find decent answers at outside corner. Like, I mean, Trey Avery has given them something, obviously Christian Fulton when he's healthy is good in there. But that slot spot, they've just never really answered or filled. And to me, like that is a key position on this defense.
No, I agree entirely. I think there's a multiplier effect there as well, Mike, because I think if he was around from the beginning, it would have allowed a guy like McCreary to play more on the outside where he belongs. And I think it kind of stunted his development in a way because he had to cover for the slot position early on very often. And that's clearly not what he's built to do in the NFL. We've got 4 more of these picks as we go through the Titans what could have been draft, but they're going to be behind the paywall. If you are not a Broadway insider and you're listening to this on YouTube for free, this is the end of the road for you, but it doesn't have to be. you can go over to BroadwaySportsMedia.com right now and become an insider. It's a subscription that is just going to cost you 99 cents for your first month when you use code INSIDER when you sign up over at BroadwaySportsMedia.com/insider. I believe you can go and sign up there right now and get the rest of this show behind the paywall in video format on YouTube with a private link and everything on the website. You can see the rest of our conversation, which is going to include, besides the rest of our draft and the what could have been draft, we're also going to talk through the Titans injury landscape, which we might have to spend 3 or 4 hours on to even get through the list. The playoff scenarios for the Titans, which is where we're at right now in December. It's the best time of year. We're talking playoffs. We've got Titans-Texans coming up on Saturday and what's going to be the coldest game in Nissan Stadium history. We've also got the Moneymaker Mike segment. Went 3-2 again last week, still making money. So if you want to spend money to become an insider to get this show, you can then listen, bet with us and Moneymaker Mike, make your money back. Free content hack for all of you smart bettors out there. And then, of course, the Mike Drop segment to end the show. Mike leaves us with his hottest take of the week, which is always a fun one. Go to BroadwaySportsMedia.com right now. Go to the Insider tab, become an insider, use code INSIDER to get your first month for just 99 cents. That's practically free, folks. Or just get the annual pass, set it and forget it for a year. Get a whole year for 40% off of the regular price, just $49.99. That's a fantastic deal. Make it a Christmas present to yourself or a loved one. They will appreciate it, and you'll get all of our fine content here at BroadwaySportsMedia.com, including premium articles, early access articles, fantasy leagues, access to behind-the-scenes info and information, and shows like the Mike Herndon Show in their entirety. All right, until next time, this has been the Mike Herndon Show. We hope you come and join us behind the paywall.